Teta! What a strike! What a screamer! Zola! And a fantastic goal! Arsenal back in it! Here's Limpar, lines it up, finds the net. Arsenal in front.
Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Vision pregame live show. My name is Elliot Smith. You can block me on Twitter at Yankee Gunner. We're going to be talking all things Arsenal Villarreal today. We're going to be talking about the return of Dracula. Unai Emery is back in our lives, everybody, and his protagonists will be there, hoping to stop us from reaching the final. But I have faith because life has taught me nothing. So the first thing I want to do is just say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us. So today, Scott will be joining us. Paul will be joining us. Tim will be joining us. Clive will be joining us. And Jessica Black will be here as well. So we've got a great show. We're going to talk predictions, lineups, what the stats say, if anyone cares about that, what it means, and maybe even talk a little Daniel Ek and Spotify nonsense just to pass the time. But here joining me now is Scott. You can find him on Twitter at @O_that_crab. Hello, Scott.
Yeehaw! How you doing?
Good. I love what you're doing with the lighting there. A little bit of the, you know what I feel like? I feel like I'm interviewing like 1980s style, a cigarette company employee who doesn't want to go on record, a whistleblower. Are you a whistleblower about what's going to happen to Arsenal today?
I am. And part of it is, it's 80 degrees for the first time this year. So I felt like I needed to bust out the summer wardrobe and, feel kind of good and excited. The sun's out. So,
sun's out, guns out. Are the guns out?
I mean, I got the short sleeve. I didn't go full tank top.
Gotta go.
I don't know. I don't know if I have.
Sun's out, guns out.
I don't have that kind of definition.
Sun's out, guns out, baby. Okay.
Jim's closed, so lost the gains.
Early stuff. Hello, gents. Much love to you. Yes, much love back at you as well. That shirt, though, I think there is love for the shirt. I don't know how anyone can see it. Maybe my contrast is turned down, but I can't see it particularly well. Scott,
I know. I got the big bright sun windows behind me, so I needed to. It's screwing with my lighting here.
Yeah, well, so we do have a question what I'm drinking. So I want to be clear. Normally I'd be drinking bourbon, but it just past noon where I am. My wife picked up a 6-pack of some cider. So I was like, you know what? It's sunny. It's warm for a change. I'll drink some cider. So that's what we're drinking right now. And you can, you can decide how you want to go. We certainly support all kinds of drinking habits here. What's on the shirt, by the way? Always a good question. I'm going for vibes today. And the vibes are, can we see it? Yep.
Yeah, it looks good. Aubameyang.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, because we hope that he will start, and we hope that he will deliver us into the final. Today is a big one. Scott, before we get to, it is a Stella cider. Yes, it is. Clive, or we protest. Look, Clive will be joining. Tim will be joining. Paul will be joining. Jessica Black will be joining. They'll all be here. So don't worry, we are going to do it. Hey, Aubameyang's Instagram story suggests he's in the squad at least. Let me start you with this. We're going to bring on some of the graphics you put together here. But do you have any sense of how he might set up tonight? I feel like there's so many possibilities that it's pretty hard to have any sense whatsoever of which direction he's going to go.
I mean, the big thing for me is I think he needs to set up a lineup that is willing and able to press because, the more I watch even further tape trying to pull my Emery, game out of here. And I watched even more tape. And I think that Villarreal is something that they really don't handle high press well. So I think that's something that we really need to kind of gear the lineup towards. So I'd really like to see someone who can, go in these fast transitions. So I think I'd love to have Aubameyang up top because I think that would really help him. But then I think we just need lots of runners in the attacking midfield band. So that's definitely what I'd like to see. Yeah, so I think that's probably the bigger key. I mean, whoever's playing striker, I hope they're just fit. If it's Aubameyang's only good for 30 minutes, that's fine. Let's, get him on at 60 minutes and really do that. But it really is, let's get athleticism in that midfield band.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Do you have any, so I was listening to the Arsblog Patreon preview show. Alex Kirkland was on. We're going to have him on our podcast tomorrow, so I'm excited for that. But talking about their striker, a guy that he claims is, one of the best couple of players in the league right now. I think second only in scoring, or third in scoring behind Messi and Benzema. I don't know much about him. It's funny. He's like, he's not particularly quick. He's not particularly strong. I was like, okay, doesn't sound too bad. But he is the third leading scorer in La Liga. Any knowledge of him that you want to impart?
I mean, yeah, when I look at him, he definitely looks like a really solid player. Right now, he's putting up over 0.5 non-penalty goals, which is about where you'd want a good striker to be. So that puts him about 80th percentile. I think that this is something that Arsenal are going to have to keep an eye on. Gets a good amount of shots in general. Seems to have a shot profile that's where you want your striker to be, right in the middle of the box. So I mean, this is probably to him. Yeah, to me, it's him and Chukwueze are the two guys that really kind of drive their attack. Both of those guys are, I think they're probably a good half of their shots total per 90. So, you got Moreno at 5 or at 3, Chukwueze at over like 2.5. So, that's like 5.5 out of their 10 that they average a game. So that is basically what they do. Yeah. Those two guys right there.
Okay, and by the way, you're listening to Scott. You can find him on Twitter, _that_crab, all things stats for us at Arsenal Vision Podcast. Paul is here as well, though, so unfortunately we're going to bring Paul in. You can find him on Twitter at Pause My Pants. Hello, Pause.
Woo!
Woohoo. You are kitted up. It looks like you've got the Arsenal shirt and Arsenal sort of zip training jacket as well. Any name on the back of that shirt today, Paul?
Danny Ceballos.
Danny Ceballos? No.
He wants to
You
play
have a
in
Ceballos. Please tell me you do not have a Ceballos Arsenal shirt.
All right.
Oh my
really
God,
does.
he's got Ceballos on the back of his Arsenal. Look,
I bought the one.
I'm not even
Danny
sure. I'm not even sure I'm comfortable buying shirts with players' names on the backs anymore. All of us are probably too old to be doing that. But buying shirts with the name of Low Knees on the back is the absolute
it's a bold move.
Peak bold move. Let's see how it works out for him.
We sold
GIF.
2 of them apparently. Me and Danny Ceballos' mother. We were actually working by email trying to get a discount because we thought they should be deeply discounting those. Anyway,
absolutely amazing stuff. Amazing scenes, as they say. You hate to see it. But all right, let's go ahead and dive into some of the stuff that Scott put together, Paul, and then we can talk a little bit of lineup. So we're getting some big Paul out vibes in the chat, by the way. So here we go. I'm going to take down this banner real quick because what we're going to do is we're going to bring up some stuff that you created, Scott. So here we go. We're going to look at who Villarreal are exactly. Who are Villarreal? And for people that aren't familiar with this kind of a graphic, do you want to explain? This is a radar or a spider chart of Villarreal in La Liga. This looks like it's a spider chart of their attack. Do you want to explain what we're seeing here?
Yes, I mean, the big thing to look at these is so how far out from the center basically corresponds with the percentile rank. So if you are further out, that means you are among the highest or best in those categories. So if you are completely filled out, that means you're probably the best team of all time, and you're probably early Barcelona style. This data is all from FE reference, which is really nice. So it actually only goes to 2016-17, but that's still quite a few seasons worth of data. I mean, one of the things that I really look at this, and it's like Villarreal, pretty solid team. They don't really strike me as they're great at any one thing, but they seem to be pretty well-rounded in what they're able to do. I think we've all seen Emery, so the not a lot of shots makes a lot of sense, but what they do take shots, they're generally good quality. That was something that definitely struck me when I was watching their videos. They really do work the ball to get into good shooting positions. They're not going to take a lot of shots from deep or speculative shots. So I think that matches with what we've seen from Emery when he was the coach of Arsenal. In general, that leads to them being a pretty good team at generating expected goals. They've actually slightly finished below average, but I mean, I don't know how much, knowing Arsenal's luck, they would probably finish well in this game. The ones on the right here kind of show you the overall distribution of where things land, because that's to me, it's also an interesting thing to see, especially when you get towards the outer parts of charts about, where they are on the outlier stuff. So I think that this shows that Villarreal are a good team and that Arsenal probably shouldn't overlook them in this match.
Paul will be back in just a moment, but before we bore everyone senseless, let's just get through the rest of this real quick. So the next thing we have here, actually, let's go to this. What is this? How is this different?
This is defending. So it's basically looking at similar stats, and this is how they do to keep teams away from scoring. So the big things that we're looking at here, and again, this is with better teams being further away. So you would have less penalty or non-penalty XG. So that's where they're looking here. They're, again, a solid team. Don't give up a ton of shots, which is actually kind of a surprising thing for me, where I remember when Emery was the coach, Arsenal got outshot. With Villarreal, he's able to actually keep a positive shot differential in here. They don't seem to be an
I got to stop you. Eddie Longbridge says that is a butterfly. And I am here to tell you that is obviously a horse. Inside joke. You can look it up if you want. The famous butterfly defense. That's a butterfly. It's a horse. Finally, someone. Hashtag / horse. Exactly. Okay, look, let's get to the most important part of these graphics that you made, though, which is this one. And we'll just kind of do that to it there. This is the odds of it all happening. I can't read this chart. I expect most people cannot read this chart unless they have amazing eyesight and the understanding of what numbers and lines means. I clearly don't know anything about numbers and lines. Just tell me what this chart is.
All right. So the simplest way to kind of look at it is you look at the top bar chart. That's the Villarreal's probability of scoring goals. So, you look at it, it's 1 to 2 goals is probably their, most likely outcomes. For Arsenal, it's very similar, 1 to 2 goals. They're on the right. They're the red team. When you put them together, you can get the overall probability of each score line. And, the most probable score line is a 1-1 draw. And I think that would probably be okay with Arsenal. I think we'd all like to see, more than 1 goal for Arsenal, even if it ended up in a draw. But this kind of gives you an overall feel for how things go. You look at the very bottom and you can see that Arsenal are about 36% chance to win. Villarreal about 38. So it's a very even matchup here.
You're getting some love in the chat, which I'm putting up there because usually it's just people complaining about the top knot or whatever the case may be. To be fair, you've grown into a great podcaster, but seeing as how you have the whistleblower, no light on your face thing going on today, I don't know about a live streamer.
I need to get that ring light like you do.
There you go. The ring light is great, but then you also need makeup, and then you also need, what's the word I'm looking for? Genetics, which I'm working on. I'm hoping we can get that adjusted. Maybe when I get my second jab, the mRNA stuff, maybe it'll mix with my DNA, make me a prettier man. I don't know. We're going to bring Paul back in for reasons I can't fully articulate. So there is Paul. We're going to remove the statistics, and we're going to get back to the nonsense. Paul, I'm going to ask you to predict what we're going to do lineup-wise. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I know you're going to be wrong, and then I can ridicule you for it later. Because there's no possible way to predict what the lineup is going to be today. It really does. I mean, it is one of those situations where, based on availability and based on the formation and based on the opposition, we don't know what to expect. It could be that sort of 3-3-4 thing again with Shaq at left back. It could be the 4-2-3-1 since Odegaard is back, and maybe we put Cedric over there. Tierney is in the mix, I guess. No idea which way he's going to go. Why don't you tell us which way he's going to go, and we'll ridicule you when it comes out in about 45 minutes.
Okay, I think he's going to bring in Odegaard.
Okay, good one. Anything else?
Yeah, the big question is the left back, right? And I guess I don't know how the lineup's going to work with Odegaard in it, but I think we haven't seen Cedric for a long time. Makes me think that we're going to play Xhaka at left back. Terrifying as that may be in this particular setup against Chukwueze. But I wouldn't do it. But on the other hand, I'd have warmed up Cedric before this game to make sure he's comfortable playing on the left and we've got something going. Maybe Tierney's back. But, I mean, everything flips depending on where Xhaka plays, right? So... like, what do you guys think? Do you think, yes or no, Xhaka at left back this game? What do you think he'll do?
I don't think he will. And I think it may sound reductive, but I think the mere experience of the way Richarlison danced past him in the Everton game and knowing that Emery is going to find your weakness and try to target that, I just think long balls into the channel, long balls up the left wing in situations where Xhaka could be exposed, it's too risky. And now that he has Odegaard back, he can much more easily go back to the 4-2-3-1, let Xhaka and Partey play double pivot, let Odegaard play between them. Even if it has to be Cedric, I think that gives him just a little more reliability. I think Xhaka's done a great job there. Yeah. I just think that the opportunity for it to be exposed is too much. And I just want to shout out Jared Pickens for the tip. He did not put in a drink order. Got to get your drink order, man. But Martinelli at the top. We will get to that in a moment, Jared, I assure you, because we do want to discuss what could happen at the top end of the pitch. But Paul, you wanted to answer back on the left back.
Lineup. Mm-hmm. Well, so, yeah, I mean, you have me persuaded. I think we go Cedric left back, Xhaka and Partey in the middle, Odegaard, Lacazette up front, assuming if he's fit enough to train, he's I mean, what are they saving him for? Right. So they'll have Aubameyang for the next leg. Lacazette is the most played in and fittest, even if he's missed a couple of games. Aubameyang's, even before he was out, was missing games, wasn't necessarily in the flow of things, in the form. So it's going to be Lacazette up front. And then we're going to have Saka on one side. And that's the Smith Rowe on the other side.
Yeah. I do think we're starting to wind up in a situation where on the right flank, it's either Pepe or Saka. You have to pick one. And I think Pepe's made an argument to be him. That's no disrespect to Saka. It's just I think Pepe's playing that well. But Scott, that leaves a possibility that you could put Saka at left back. I think the two really interesting decisions for him to make tonight are what he does at left back and what he does up top. He has an injured Tierney just coming back and a malaria recovering Aubameyang just coming back. He could pick both. He could pick neither. But to me, those are really the two swing decisions around which the rest of the lineup and really the rest of the tactics pivot. So do you see it the same way? And do you have an instinct on which way he'll go in those specific positions?
So
by the way, just real quick, Clive, Tim, Jessica Black, all coming up in the next 45 minutes and beyond. So lots more to do here, but I appreciate everyone who's here now. And if you can, gently tap the like or subscribe button. Do not smash it. I hate when people say that. Your devices are valuable. Don't smash it. You can gently tap it. They're very sophisticated. They will respond to a gentle tap. Go ahead. Sorry, Scott.
Even a nice click if you're, an old-fashioned person using a real laptop.
If you're using something that clicks, or if you're using something that buzzes. Any ideas?
Yeah. I could actually use that. I'm looking, kind of shaggy.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, right. left back and up top. Those are the two issues.
Yeah, I think it's. I've gone a lot on this, and I think I'm going to land on Cedric as left back. I think we've seen Xhaka, go against Richarlison last week, and it only took a couple times that he got beat, but those two times were probably the most dangerous times Everton were. For the most part, I think Arsenal were really good against Everton at keeping them from doing what they wanted to do. But I think you actually need to have an actual defender there. So I think it is probably Cedric. I think that'll probably bring back to Xhaka Party at midfield. I think it's just really hard to expect a lot from Aubameyang coming back from malaria, because I think that's just something that he's probably lost quite a bit of weight. It's hard to expect a full 90 minutes at high intensity. So I expect him to probably be a guy available on the bench for this match. So I think it's going to be Eddie. I'm not buying that Lacazette is available. We didn't really actually see him running. He's just doing the hey, what's up kind of sign. The same thing with Tierney. I think those are all smoke screens just to try to put some second guessing into Emery's head on those things. I think we're going to see Martinelli, because I think that's something that'll be really key to really kind of trigger press. And then I think we see Odegaard and Saka. It's a tough call to drop Smith Rowe, but we have 5 subs in this game. I think this is something that we could really be okay with doing. Let's really go out and give us. I say this every time, but it's like, give me 50, 60 minutes, and then let's get some subs on there. But Arteta doesn't always seem to like that style. But that's what I would like to see.
Yeah, fair enough. Paul, in terms of what it means for us, I think it was someone asked, could you see Aubameyang starting up on the left? And I never even really considered that. But given that Lacazette is rumored to be available, I don't know if that's the case. Jared Pickens says no way Laka is fit. I tend to agree, but I guess he could go Laka central and Aubameyang on the left. But then you're suddenly starting with a lot of players just back. That feels like a bridge too far. In terms of risking players, the only other game this season that matters is the second leg of this tie. And if you win it, the European final, which is weeks away. I don't think I would be willing to risk anyone tonight, regardless of what their injury situation is, if I think they can play. Because this game right now, and I would say this leg is arguably more important than the next leg to some respect, because you can sort of end the tie in the first leg if you get it right. So do you think there's any need to be careful with players returning from injury, or would you just pick the team you think that can best win the game, regardless of whether you're concerned about being borderline fit?
Basically, you play whoever. You take the risks with the players this time around. I guess I would debate with an open mind the idea that Lacazette isn't fit. Is he healthy? Well, if he's healthy, he's fit because he's just been playing. And Arteta said he was back and he was available and he could play. Basically said they could all play. So given that you have 5 subs, if you're willing to start the game for 60 minutes, 70 minutes with Nketiah, why not just start it with Lacazette and bring on Nketiah if he runs into trouble? Why not bring Aubameyang if Lacazette runs into trouble? I mean, why do we protect him? So I think Lacazette has been playing there. He's been playing there in Europa League games. He's kind of got us this far in the last month and a half. I think if he's healthy, then he's actually fit, because he's been playing, apart from a couple of weeks where he's nicely rested and he's fresh. I don't know. I'd go with Lacazette. We're still working out how to play with Aubameyang up front, although we all think it should be no issue to do it. We haven't been doing it very much. And malaria is a thing, and you recover from it, and you don't necessarily recover 100%.
You just don't know.
That was quite the tautology, though. Yeah, it's a thing you get and then you recover from.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Scott, it could be a thing you get and don't recover from. So thank God that's not the case. I do want to
piss off, Scott. Piss off.
Exactly. By the way, someone said, please graphics put names on I don't know why, but when I pop up a banner or pop up the chat, the names go away. The question is, why would you want to know the names of people that look like this? So anyway, risk anyone. Jesus, guys, these are human beings. We've got a long-term plan to worry about. Yes, that's fair. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying risk them dying or their leg falling off, but I'm saying if you're worried that they might miss the weekend or not be available for 6 weeks.
Train tracks. Yeah. Like an evil villain with our mustache.
Yes. I'm not saying put them under the coach or run the bus over them. I'm simply saying risk them vis-a-vis could it mean that they're out a few more weeks? They have all summer to recover. Indeed, and it's much easier to recover from a hangover from winning a European trophy than it is from finishing 10th and no trophy. Arsenal 10, Villarreal 0, good evening. Paul, look, good evening indeed. You know me. I don't have strong feelings about anything. My takes are what you call milquetoast by comparison to most. Yeah. But I got takes when it comes to Emery.
Yeah.
I do not care for the man, and I do not want to be knocked out by him. Do you have any takes when it comes to Emery? Any specific? Does this tie have more heat for you because of that? Do you think it might have more heat for the players because of that?
I don't know that it has. So yeah, to a degree, but obviously I doubt they hate him, right? I doubt these players hate him, but there are repercussions. There are comparisons. There are points to be proven. I think Emery is a very nice man. I actually wish him well. I think he did the best for us. I think the players in the squad don't dislike him. I think they probably mostly like him, even if there are aspects of it that made their lives more difficult. But they also know what they're fighting narrative more than anything. The hot takes are the narrative. Oh, you got beat by Unai Emery, you scrubs. Oh, Arteta got out-thought and outplayed by Unai Emery. And Arteta doesn't need those comparisons at this point in a challenging season leading into a challenging summer. So they really, it definitely, compared to playing another La Liga manager with a team, this is a big deal. And nobody wants to lose this. It's a lot easier for Emery to lose this politically than it is Arteta and the boys to lose this. Emery just loses his Europa League. They get put into a comparison of, oh dear, worse than Unai Emery.
Yeah, I do want to catch Scott in the act. He's writing something on the whiteboard behind him. No, we can't read it, Scott, because you're in your whistleblower lighting, which no one can read. No one can. Oh, come on, man. Puck? Does he play ice hockey now? It's in a heart emoji and stuff. I don't know. Kids watching. I'm drinking alcohol. We're sponsored by a thing for shaving your privates.
I'm even worse now. My lighting.
This has turned extremely blue, hasn't it? By the way, here's an interesting point. If Luis was fit, he'd be up for beating Emery. We haven't talked about Luis. He's been training too. Scott, there we go.
Let's see. I just need to adjust things a little bit better.
That's beautiful.
I think I've worked out what's going on with Scott. You're at your company, right? You're hiding in the conference room. You're pulling a full-on Kramer in Seinfeld, hiding in an office in the building, pretending to be employed.
There's like 6 people here with me. But yes.
Good.
I was required to go into the office today to work on an actual real job thing. So yes, I am using my lunchtime.
Yeah. Hey, out of curiosity, by the way, anyone in the chat, when you see a lineup come out, ideally a real lineup, please let us know so I can get it. And we can pop it up on the screen because it's hard to do all these things at once. So, all right. So Scott, real quick, do you have strong feelings about the Emery matchup? And I mean, this is an interesting one in a way, right? Because we know a lot about him and how he likes to set up his team, which is incoherently. He knows a lot about us and our players and the weaknesses of our players. It is interesting. He's a cup manager, and like he did get us to a European final. Now here he is in the semifinal with Villarreal, and typically sort of very mediocre 13 draws. I think he's got in La Liga, kind of mid-table-ish season he's having there. Feels very familiar in a way. This is a competition that has obviously suited him. Do you feel that the Emery factor is a real thing, or is that a narrative that maybe we like to talk about more than will actually play out on the pitch?
I mean, I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I think that there is a little bit of, not that, there's a lot of motivation needed for a semifinal of a European competition, but I think there is probably going to be something of, the players not wanting their former coach, which all reports said that they didn't really care for all that much. So I think they would like to not be beaten by him. I think Emery probably has that same kind of feelings towards Arsenal, where it wasn't the most amicable divorce. So I think that it's probably a thing where there's going to be lots of motivation from both sides to really try to outdo each other. I think that, Emery is probably I'm scarred by him, because I think that there was a lot of times where he was a little too Jose Mourinho, in that he overthought how to neutralize his opponents instead of really thinking about how we can maximize our team and not really worry about the opponents because they should worry about us, kind of a thing. And it felt almost kind of too small club kind of thing. So I think that, Villarreal might be a better fit for his style, where, they aren't going to have overwhelming talent advantages when they go to play somebody. So that, actually being able to neutralize the other team is probably the smarter strategy over trying to maximize your talent advantage. And I think that is something that probably suits his style more than when he was at Arsenal. I think this is something that where I look at Arsenal, I think that we have better elite talent. I don't think the overall, if you look at the average talent gap, I don't think that is that big between the two teams. But I think that if you look at actual difference makers, I think there's more of those on Arsenal. When I look at Villarreal, I think there's really only Chukwueze that really seems to be a guy that could really change things all by himself. I think that they have a lot of, really good players I actually like. I really like Danny Parejo. He's a guy that, kind of admired from afar and wish, he could get a better chance, but I think he's in a good spot here. I think, you kind of look at throughout the lineup, there's a lot of those guys on Villarreal. So yeah, I mean, it's a matchup where I don't want to see Emery happy and excited, just because I thought that the football that he brought to Arsenal was horrendous and I hated it. So I want to see him sad. Yeah.
I mean, I'm with it. Look, Paul, this is a really tough one for you. I know you are an Arsenal fan. I know you are wearing an Arsenal top, but we have to sort of weigh some other things we know about you. We know that you have an Arsenal shirt with a Real Madrid player on the back. So that's one concern I have. We also know that your favorite ever Arsenal player is Francis Coquelin. As James says, always great to see Cock. Easier to see if you use Manscaped products, by the way. So when it comes to the Cock, as much as you have loved him, is it hard for you to root for Arsenal tonight? Are you going to be a big Francis Coquelin fan tonight?
Look, I do like France. I'm partial.
Can we just? I miss the days of being able to fight with you about Francis Coquelin. It was one of the things that made our podcast great. Why do you love Francis Coquelin, and why can you not quit Francis Coquelin? Please help me understand. Can we at least agree that it would be lovely to see him bouncing off someone tonight, like Pepe or Saka, like he bounced off Eden Hazard all those years ago?
Look, pretty much everybody bounced off Eden Hazard's arse at some stage.
Well, today it's even easier to bounce off him because he's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He's very bouncy now.
The gravitational forces.
Soundboard for that one.
Yeah. The gravitational forces around that man's arse. Yes, Coquelin bounced off his arse, but so too did Koscielny in that move. Look, I do like players who are both limited in terms of talent, but also have certain superpowers. And Coquelin, unless you want to deny your memories, certainly had superpowers. He's a level of athleticism and leaping around, jumping into tackles. He was fun. It was exciting. Him and Cazorla were a great mix. Yes, he needed Cazorla. If you like Walcott, and I know you do, you should be able to relate. You may not feel the same way about Coquelin, but I liked Walcott, who was a technically limited player who had superpowers. We know what they were. Who could do really good things, but other times would leave you incredibly frustrated. Coquelin was a very limited player. His partner, people look down on the fact that he needed Cazorla to be really good for us, but he was really good with Cazorla, and that doesn't make him less interesting to me, and therefore make it less enjoyable to watch them as a pairing. So,
yeah,
it was fun. We were good. We were the best team in the league with Cazorla. We just were, and it wasn't all down to Santi.
I will say this about Coquelin. I think the reason that I disliked Coquelin so much is I think it was in a team that I saw him as being a specifically limited pieces in that team that could do something. And it felt like he was the area we could have improved. Like, imagine that midfield if instead of Cazorla and Coquelin, it's Cazorla and Partey. If we had pushed the boat out and gone and gotten that upgrade on him, I think there were enough pieces around at the time, Alexis and Ozil and Giroud, who I didn't even love, but, could do a few things now and then.
That does not explain to me your dislike of Coquelin.
I just don't think you know what? And you know this about me. I like players that are technically clean. I like players that are good at passing and dribbling and that stuff. Yeah, well, all right. Theo Walcott was fast. I also like fast players. That'd be the thing. I like players that can run. I think I found Coquelin also to be a player who posted a lot of these big tackling stats and was very brash in the way he did the dirty work. But then we'd come up to these big games and you'd see that positionally he wasn't as strong as he could be. Now, I know he burst onto the scene against Manchester City. That's when the Cazorla and Coquelin double pivot sort of took center stage and we won that game and it was a big result. But I am, as Dan Smith points out, I do have a right to have opinions that are entirely unfounded, and I will continue to do that.
We stuffed United 3-0 with that pairing in midfield in the first half. They were fun. Look, I'm not defending him as the world's greatest player. Yes, Partey would have been much better than him. That doesn't mean I have to dislike Coquelin or not think that Cazorla was
that's fair. Can I give
really
you
good
an analog?
And really fun.
I'll give you an analog. Granit Xhaka. Yeah. Granit Xhaka, again, a player who you can make a lot of defenses of Granit Xhaka as a perfectly usable, perfectly reasonable player who is maligned more than his quality suggests he should be, if you follow me. Like again, similar to Coquelin, plenty of good things about his game, probably underappreciated at some level, but also who you could equally argue is giving the team the ceiling that's holding its back from maybe where it could be. And so I see both sides. I mean, Scott, do you think that the Xhaka-Coquelin analogy is similar, even though they're very different players, right? Like Xhaka's a passer and Coquelin was a more defensive-oriented player, that I think they are players who in their similar eras are perceived as being a piece that's holding the team back from going up a level?
Yeah, kind of. So, I mean, I think we'd probably have a different view if Coquelin was the fourth midfielder on that team. Because I think one of the things that he really helped was when we actually did go face a team that was actually going to contest the ball with us and not really cede possession to us. So I think that's where we kind of look back and say, against Manchester City, he was really good because he really gave us something in that midfield that we didn't necessarily always have. But when we played a team, a lower table team, he was basically just a passenger that we carried a lot of times, and it would have been nice to have another player in that role. So I think if you look back at that 15-16 season, that's the spot that we were really missing, was having another midfielder. So it's not that Coquelin was a bad player. It's not that he didn't do important things for Arsenal. I think that he was just not the full depth that we needed in that position, because really you looked at it and Santi was the guy that we couldn't live without, and we didn't have another way of playing that really brought out the best of that team. So, I mean, he's a fine limited player that did some things really well. But, if he wasn't like Conte, where, you see Conte and yes, he could play that destroyer role that Coquelin did so well, but he is also an amazing midfielder when he needs to push the ball up the field. Like that's something that if he was that, he would have been, perfect. And, you didn't need another player. But I think if Arsenal had another guy that could have been a positive in progressing the ball, that would have been something that would have helped us a lot.
We have a lineup posted. So, Paul, finish your thought just real quick because I want to get to that now pretty quickly.
Sure. Look, that's all true, but it misunderstands the Cox-Zorla dynamic, which was even against weaker teams, Coquelin was a ball recoverer, ball winner. We had bite in midfield for the first time in the best part of a decade. We snapped everything up. And you're right, he couldn't do what Kante did. But that's all right, because he didn't think he could do what Kante could do. He just gave it to Cazorla, who was fecking great, and they knew who they were. And they found this balance, and I loved it, and it was fun. And part of it, Coquelin did make Cazorla better and more viable in our midfield in certain games, because who else was going to be beside Cazorla? Yeah, it would have been great if it was Partey, but we didn't have Partey. And I don't know if it would have been more fun. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, look, I mean, I miss being able to spend every day arguing with you about that player. And at least for tonight, we may get a chance to revisit it. But there is a lineup that is out. I do want to reiterate, if you're just joining, and the reason I look a little bit distracted is I'm literally typing that lineup in now so we can have it scrolling along the bottom of the screen. But Paul is wearing an Arsenal top. And Ceballos is on the back of it. That's right. He bought an Arsenal shirt for a player who wasn't guaranteed to even be at the club by the time the shirt got delivered, that's something. Scott, I'm going to give you the first go at this. I don't know if you've been able to process this yet, but it is out. It does look official. I mean, it's not official, but a lot of people reporting it now. So what do you make of a lineup that appears to have, and again, I can't say this definitively, it appears to have either no striker, or Pepe at striker, or you tell me. What do you see? Because I don't know.
I mean, Arteta is going full Pep here, really overthinking things maybe almost. But no, I think you might be seeing Pepe as the striker. I think that's kind of the way I would look at it. I think you'll see Saka right, Smith Rowe, Ceballos left. I think that's definitely the lineup. And I mean, I definitely see you look at the bench and there is no Tierney. There is no Lacazette. I think that was totally a smokescreen to get Emery to overthink his preparedness. So it's definitely...
All right, well, let's agree with this. It looks like it is the... Oh, no, wait. I've got to update it because I went with James Benge's lineup, and James, we are now in a fight. James Benge no longer... Friendship with Benge ended. Now people in the chat are my friend. No Xhaka? What?
No. Xhaka,
there was a Saka. Yes.
Xhaka's in there. Yeah.
Okay, so where the heck is my Saka? I just got to put a Saka in here somewhere.
I think he's just
hopefully
sending
it's
out
a
11
well-sheared
players.
Saka.
Yeah, well,
they're going to work out where they stand when they get on the pitch.
Paul, where are they going to stand? Help me. So this is what I was going to say real quick before I got distracted. It certainly looks like this is that 4-3-3, or as Clive prefers it to be called. By the way, Clive will be on. Jessica Black will be on. Tim Stillman will be on. Everyone joining later, so you don't want to miss that. But this looks like the 4-3-3, or as Clive likes to say, 3-3-4 again. He is sticking with it. It looks like Shaq at left back. So are you prepared for a Chukwueze madness, or are we going to be able to keep that from happening?
We'll be fine. We got it covered. I am worried with Ceballos and Chak on that side. One of my predictions, you laughed at my lineup. You laughed at one of my two lineups. Mm-hmm. One of my predictions was kind of right, and the other one was wrong. So, it's going to be Chak and Ceballos, I guess, on the left again. Ceballos in midfield, obviously. Pepe at striker. Smith Rowe on the left, Saka on the right. And, of course, Chambers a right back, Chak at left back. The midfield or the centre back pairing again of Holding and Murray, Partey, Ceballos.
I'm getting nervous. My
Odegaard.
God, the nerves are hitting me now. Wow. It's a European semifinal, and let's face it. Look, if you know anything about entertainment, who goes on first, guys? The opening act or the main act?
The opening act.
The opening act.
Concerts, yeah.
So don't tell me about Manchester City, PSG. Don't tell me about them. Don't tell me about Real Madrid and Chelsea. Or pardon me. Yeah, exactly. Because that's clearly the opening act, or they wouldn't have put us on Thursday. This is the main event. We have the better theme song. Everybody knows the Europa League has a better theme song.
That's the hot take right there.
I mean, you tell me, do you want to see Mbappe, or do you want to see Francis Coquelin? Do you want to see Neymar, Or do you want to see Granit Xhaka? I think I know which I prefer. This is a big, big night. And Pepe, I love this player. I have felt that he could have a big, big season. We talked about, could Pepe elevate himself this season to the point where we drop the 72 million pound moniker in front of him and just talk about what a good player he is. European semifinal, it looks like he's playing through the middle. I know a lot of people wanted to see Martinelli, but this has big Pepe night written all over it. Paul, it sounds like you want to jump in and stop me from rambling aimlessly. Please do.
Yeah, so I got to say two things. Fair fucks to Mikel Arteta. This is ballsy, right? It could be disastrous. It's probably, but fair fucks to him. Biggest game of his career as a manager, and he threw them all on. So here's my question. Sometimes we think the lineup is one thing. It turns out it's not when they all line up. If Pepe isn't our striker, who's going to stand in the middle?
Odegaard.
Yeah, that's
right?
my pick too. Yep.
So let's say it is that 4-3-3. We know it'll be sort of Xhaka, Marie, Holding, and Chambers across the back. Party as the central midfielder. The 2 8s would be Smith Rowe and Saka potentially.
Smith Rowe and Ceballos.
Smith Rowe and Ceballos. Sorry, Smith Rowe and Ceballos. And then it would be, Pepe left, Odegaard central, and Saka right. The more I think about it, Scott. I mean, that's what it is, right? Because otherwise you're saying it's Ceballos and Odegaard as the 8s and Smith Rowe on the left. Which do you think it'll be? You make the call right now. Who will we see standing centrally more often, Pepe or Odegaard?
I think, I think it might even be like a 3-5-2-ish kind of shape at times. I think you might see the
fun with numbers, everybody.
I think you might see Saka and Pepe kind of both being forwards, Saka from the right, Pepe from the left, both of them kind of being the two furthest forward. I think you might see Odegaard, Smith Rowe kind of as the guys behind them. And then I think, you'll have Xhaka and Ceballos guarding the left flank. I think that's kind of how I imagine them going.
It's great, isn't it? I mean, it might be terrible, but remember when our lineups used to be predictable and it wasn't about toothpaste? This is like taking the tube, smashing your hand on it, and the thing goes all over your wall. We're just throwing those bastards upfield.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. You know what's really, really interesting, and I think everybody can agree. And look, let's get some questions too. I want to make sure that we take your questions. So if you have questions or things that you expect or comments or just generally want to tell us that you'd prefer to watch more handsome people, those people are coming. Tim will be here. Clive will be here. Jessica Black will be here. But one thing we can all agree.
Hang on. Mm-hmm. Couldn't we just all be more handsome? The three of us. Couldn't we just up our game now?
I've tried literally for my entire life, and I can assure you that everything. Yeah.
Try now. Let's be more handsome now.
I got a ring light. I got my side lights here. I've manscaped everything that there is to be manscaped. I don't know how else I can do it. Let me just say this though, Paul. If
have
there
you tried Botox?
I mean, it can't hurt.
I've tried Botox. They're good. I like them.
I'm cutting that audio and I'm putting that out there. I've tried Botox. They're good. I like them.
I want more.
Cassidy. Yeah, cool. Well, maybe you can talk to Cock about that. Francis Coughlin, I mean. Okay, look, how about we just make this point? Because, look, Scott, the thing that I think is interesting is my main concern with Arteta pre-Boxing Day was this is a manager who just feels way too conservative for where our talent is, where our best players are positioned on the pitch, the kind of imbalanced squad we have. And then he came up with this more attacking back four lineup when Smith Rowe came in. He eventually folded Odegaard into that, and things started to improve from an attacking standpoint. Now, fast forward a few months later, we're in the first leg, an away leg of a semifinal, and he's got all the 8s and 10s on the pitch, all the 7s, 8s, and 10s on the pitch, and suddenly now we're like, whoa, is he maybe getting a little too aggressive? How do you describe this evolution from sort of a dour back three that put 8 shots a game on the board to a YOLO Arteta, which is the era we seem to be living in right now?
I'm excited for it. Yeah, this is something that I've been
YOLO Teta. That's who we got. Yeah, YOLO Teta.
I've been wanting to see this for a long time. Let me make sure I've got my full background here in the view. I'm here for it. I'm ready to see really because you think about it, it's like our back. If this is a back three, which I think it kind of will look like at times. Neither Xhaka nor Chambers are really center backs in that sense. And I think both of them will be kind of attacking. I like that we just are looking to control. And I think that's something that we're going to need to see in this match, is we need to be able to control the transition. So this is going to be a big game for Partey to really show. I love that we have runners in front. I love that we have Pepe, Saka, Smith Rowe. I think Odegaard being able to try to feed those people as well is going to be good, because I think that's going to be the key. They don't really handle those transitions well. I think this is a good young lineup where the legs will be here if we want to press them. So yeah, I'm excited to see this. And I think the big thing is, like, I don't care if we give up goals in this match. We need to score goals. And I think that really helps you when you're the away team. So yeah, YOLO, let's do it.
YOLO Teta, Paul, is it a thing? Is it a thing? Tell me it's a thing. Are we living in the era of YOLO Teta?
It seems to be a thing, all right. Also, I think we need to change our whole podcast structure, because we have like the instant reaction podcast, which is the nervous, angsty, upset, sad thing. Yeah. And we need to do the podcast beforehand where we're like, oh, this is great. This is really exciting. Oh, we're throwing it all on, just to, and we are. That's what we're doing at the moment. Now holy shit. Do you think if you'd asked like serious people to come up with the lineup, if you'd asked 100 fairly serious Arsenal supporters, journalists or whatever, even one of them would have picked this lineup? I doubt they'd have got within 9 of these players.
well, maybe 9.
Yeah, okay. Outfield players within 8 of these players. No, look at it. It's feckin' nuts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is.
He's probably relying on the fact that he's got 5 subs, and he's like, "Well, we'll give it a go for 10 minutes, and if I look like I'm totally insane, just explain it was an administrative cock up when the guy handed in the sheet, and yank one or two of these guys off and make your subs."
But that's what you have that chance, so do it. You got 5 subs.
Yeah,
YOLO.
Yeah. YOLO.
Oh,
YOLO Teta.
All right, Scott.
YOLO Teta. Scott, look. This does mean, though, that Xhaka looks like he's going to be a little bit exposed. Are you worried about long balls into the right half, their right half space, our left half space, left wing, targeting Xhaka? Is that the real pain point here?
As long as they've been manscaped, I'm not worried about any balls coming towards us.
Oh, for God's sakes. Look, I love the sponsor as much as you love the sponsor, but let me make the sponsor happy. You just do the stuff you're good at, which we will determine as time goes on. Yeah.
That is definitely a concern. I do worry about that, but I don't know if this is really their style. Their style is probably a little bit more build from the back and try to do that. They aren't really a long ball team. I am definitely worried about Xhaka against Chukwueze one-on-one. So that'll be something that we're going to need Ceballos to help a lot with. So I think that's going to be, if we put 2 of those guys out there, hopefully that should be enough to give us enough support. We do have then 3 guys that we can bring into the box with Chambers, Murray, and Holding. So I think that it's a pick your poison thing, and hope that with our attacking lineup, we are able to pin them back enough that the number of times that they have a chance to do that should be minimal. So it's something that you have to live with.
I wonder if we'll play Smith Rowe on the left to do the legwork to cover Xhaka to some degree. Somebody like Ceballos just isn't enough. Somebody else needs to be able to get up and down that pitch. And who would you put on the left?
That's a good. Yeah, it's a good call.
But it's tough. It's tough. I don't know where Yeah.
Is it kind of weird that Ceballos has suddenly become like a really big part of this team again after we sort of felt like we'd seen him maybe go away, for lack of a better way to say? That's how he gets you, is he has a good end of the season, and then he reels you back in, and then he has another like 6 to 8 months of inconsistent performances, and then you get frustrated. Then he does well for the last 2 months of the year just to get you holding on and buying jerseys.
I think we've judged him as a member of a 2-man midfield, a pivot, and he's better as he was our man of the match, or stock rising at least, from our last game, and it wasn't a very good game, but he was busy and he was making stuff happen. He's much better on the left in a 3-man midfield, and this will be like a 5-man midfield. I think this will suit him. If he spends a little time over the left, working that corner, getting us into the penalty box. This is your best Ceballos. Now, you might love him or not love him, but the guys he's one of those guys who can slow the play, but he can also speed it up. We thought we were getting a guy who always speeded up the play. Sometimes he does. I think if we have a reasonable amount of possession with this number of midfielders connecting, you want your Ceballos. And he could have a very good game here.
Yeah, well, we'll see. You've got him on the back of your shirt, which isn't weird at all. Stop trying to make Yolo Teta happen. No, I will never stop trying to make Yolo Teta happen because it's happening, damn it. I do want to say thanks to Brian Slater. Love you too, man. Thank you so much. We love you. Everybody hanging with us right now, thank you. And I want to ask you to smash. No. See, that's the thing. We're a different kind of group here. We don't smash our devices. Have you guys, Scott, this is the thing, right? Like you're the youngest of the group of us here. People say, smash the like button, slam that subscribe button, right? Like,
do they say slam?
I don't know. How do you do, fellow kids? They say smash that like button, right? And like, my thing is, why would you smash your screen? Like these things are sophisticated pieces of equipment. You just have to gently touch them and they respond. So like just gently touch the like button, gently touch the subscribe button. It's going to do all of it. Really interesting question just quickly before we bring Jess on. Is this the end of Nketiah at Arsenal? I mean, Scott, yes. Oh, well, I think he's probably going to go in the summer, but like he got his chance to start at the weekend. It was a nothing game. It didn't work out for him, even though I thought he played pretty well, but here you go. Oba's not available to start. Lacazette's not in the team. Nketiah is a number 3 striker, and he goes to Pepe instead. This is pretty clear sign that he's not the future. And it's sad, right? Because Arteta really showed a lot of love to Nketiah. Wouldn't let him go out on loan, and then he's just kind of lost faith in him, I guess.
Yeah, and it's a tough one because I think we've hurt his value in the sense that if we wanted to actually do a transfer for him. But I could kind of see the reasoning why they kept him. I wouldn't have done it. I probably would have been a little bit more, let's take a risk and roll with both, Aubameyang and Lacazette as our 2 guys and not really worry about a third striker. It does feel like, being that third striker at a club like this after the group stages is just a really hard life. You're not going to get a lot of minutes. At best, you might make some benches. And I think once we really started seeing that we could only pick one of Aubameyang and Lacazette, his minutes just became even less. So it's been a really tough situation for him because I've always liked Eddie. I think that in the right situation, he could be a really good player. I think if he goes down the table some, I think that he really probably could be a 10-plus goal a game, or 10-plus goal a season striker in the Premier League. I think he definitely has that kind of talent. But I just don't know if it was ever the right for Arsenal. He probably just doesn't do enough in the build-up, and he's not an elite poacher. He's just a good player, and that's not to fault him for that. Yeah, it's a tough thing for him, I think.
Yeah, I think there's one really good question from Tyrone Campbell here, and I think we'll answer this before we bring Jessica on. Jessica Black about to join. Clive's going to join. Tim's going to join. Stay with us. Thank you so much for being here as we share the nerves and talk about Yolo Teta, which is a thing, and we are going to make it happen. So real quick, Paul, I mean, what do you make of the decision to start Leno over Ryan? I mean, this was a big talking point going into this game. And I don't think it's as big a talking point as some people felt, because for me, Leno's our number 1 and that's it. But what do you think about Leno getting the call here after making a howler at the weekend?
I think it's a no-brainer.
As in he's got no brains? Why is he doing it? Or is it an easy decision?
It's an easy decision.
Okay, just to clarify, that's important because you do have Ceballos on the back of your shirt.
Easy decision. It's a little painful. Obviously, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. But who is Arsenal's number 1 keeper? Imagine a howler with Matt Ryan as opposed to a howler with Leno. With Leno, he stuck with he showed confidence in his keeper. With Matt Ryan, he plays the guy who played for us once and is a loanee and is leaving for the summer. And what have you left yourself with going forward? He lets in a howler. We probably don't want him next summer. What have you done? Is that Arteta's legacy with Arsenal and the Europa League in 2021. Like those people who are overly nervous about Leno right now might understand it. The rest of the world will think it was a terrible gamble, badly made, and a manager bottling it. And I mean, the one thing we've seen with this lineup is he's going for it. So he's going to assume that Leno has the personality to respond to this. And Leno, I do think, has a spine. He's gritty. He's to Clive's point that Clive would look him in the eye. I think if Clive looked him in the eye before this game, he'd see a guy staring straight back at him, drilling holes in him, and Clive would say, "All right, Leno's starting. He terrified me. He's playing." We've had some bobbles with Leno recently, but still, people know how to play with him. People know his distances. People know where he wants the ball. It's not just about him. It's, do the others have confidence in what he's going to do next? And they don't know who Matt Ryan is. They might know him in training on a small pitch. They don't know him in the big game. They don't know where to put the ball. They don't know when he wants it and when he doesn't. I don't think you add an extra variable.
Yeah. All right. Let me say goodbye to you, Paul, real quick. Obviously, we'll be talking to you right after the game on the Instant Reaction Pod for Patreon. And Paul's on Twitter at Pause My Pants. Thanks, bud.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, indeed. That's Paul. You can find him on Twitter at Pause My Pants or at the Arsenal store looking for more Ceballos-related merchandise. If you're saying, what the heck are you talking about? I'm not kidding when I tell you Paul is wearing an Arsenal shirt with the name Ceballos on the back. You win some.
There's dozens and dozens of those people.
I don't know that that's true. I literally don't know that that's true. Hey, we got to let go of you, Scott. Scott's on Twitter, _that_crab. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Lots of fun.
Lots of fun. And the reason we have to let go of Scott is not just so that you can see me full screen, which the internet was not designed for. It's so that I can make Eddie Longbridge and the rest of you happy, and that is to bring on Jessica Black. You can find her on Twitter at It's Jessinho. Hello, Jess.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm Yolo Teta. We're Yolo Teta. Are you Yolo Teta?
So this is the thing we're really going with. We're really going with Yolo Teta.
I mean, you tell me what it is if not Yolo Teta. And I want to be clear. I will not and I will never stop trying to make Yolo Teta happen. What? Yolo Teta is a thing. Yolo Teta is real. And we are going to make it happen. Jess, how do you feel about Yolo Teta?
I mean, I get the premise. I don't know if I like the word. I'm not going to be saying that. Sorry, guys, but I get it. He has to go for it, doesn't he? He has to get as many good players out there as possible, get them playing together. And that lineup really speaks to, hey, we're going for this, So, hey, it's risky. A lot of the things that I see on this, on the lineup is a little risky. We knew that Chukwueze was going to play on the right-hand side for Villarreal, and Jack is there. So that's your first risk, playing Pepe in a position that he maybe has played one time for Arsenal. He's obviously played that for Lille, but that's a risk, doing something we haven't really seen before at Arsenal in this game. And I think Ceballos could be a little bit of a risk too. I know that maybe this is the La Liga game that he's looking for, since La Liga is better for him, but he hasn't been great in the Europa League, so I think there's a lot of risks, but at the same time, you have to go for it. And I think I'm okay with it, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see.
Yeah, I would say, look, the good news is, Jess, if this isn't working, he's got 5 subs. And if there's one thing we know about Arteta is that he is going to make at least one by the 72nd minute. So there you go. Okay, let's get to a lot of other things that we want to talk about with this. And Tim's going to be joining momentarily. But there is a request to know if you have a name on the back of your shirt.
Stopped getting names on the back of my shirt a long, long time ago. So I was bouncing in between, should I get Pepe? Should I get Thomas? Should I get this? Can't. We'll see next season, but it's too risky. You get a name on the back of the shirt and they're no longer Arsenal players in a year or two, things like that. I can't do it. But I do see a lot of people with Odegaard shirts, which I think is really interesting.
Well, you saw what Paul has on the back of his shirt, I presume.
Ceballos.
It's just unbelievable. It's
This
such
guy.
a flex. It's all vibes with Paul. I love it. It is really amazing. Let's do this though. Let's bring in a man who would have been at the ground tonight if such a thing was allowed. People praising your adult choice, Jess. I don't know about that myself, but whatever. No name is my policy. I have Rosicki 7. I will always live with Rosicki 8. Right. An 8 on the back of my first shirt. Yep, fair enough. Too old to get numbers on the back of my shirt. I'm new here, but did I just see Arsenal? Oh, wait, where is it? Where is it? Hang on, I got to bring it back. Yes. Did I just see Arsenal starting a new 72 million pound striker? Alex, you are wrong, because the way you've written that suggests that he weighs 72 million pounds. You've used LB. If Pepe weighs 72 million pounds, this giant striker will devour us all. I don't think that's exactly what's happening here. But we have to introduce Tim. You can find him on Twitter. Hello, Tim. Oh, no. Tim, it's all gone terrible. The connection's bad. It's all bad. Can you try talking? It's not my internet for once. Jess, praise my internet. Can we all bow down to my internet being
I'm glad
reasonable?
you have good internet now. It was
Thank you. We've
it
lost
was shaky for a little bit, but I was like, where does he live? Why does he have that internet?
72 million thick boy Pepe. Yeah, Laura, you're right. I mean, if he's look, I'm going to say this. If we could put 72 million pound as in LB's striker on the pitch, Jess, I honestly really think that we could win any match, provided that the pitch could actually hold the weight of that striker. Agreed?
Agree.
Pepe consumes Emery going into the second leg. Yeah. Yolo, teta, Tim. Tim will be back momentarily. In case you were wondering, no, I will never stop trying to make Yolo teta a thing. Yolo teta is a thing. We are going to give you Tim. I assure you he's coming back. I see him popping up into the studio. I see him moving around. I see the camera moving around, so I'm going to introduce him in a second. But Jess, real quick, as far as this lineup, do you have a sense? I mean, is Pepe, I know the Arsenal website and people are saying Pepe's going to be striker. Do you think it'll play out that way, or do you think we'll see a situation where sometimes Odegaard slides in there in a false 9? I'm assuming it's going to look like the 4-3-3, or as Clive, I think, prefers to call it a 3-3-4 that we've seen recently. Is it possible that he surprises us and this is yet a new permutation on what he's been doing?
I mean, I think he'll play it differently to Lacazette. I don't think that he'll be dropping as deep. He doesn't have that same, ball sticking to your feet type of skill that Lacazette has. So I think it'll be fluid. I can imagine Odegaard popping in and behind and Smith Rowe switching. And I think it's going to be pretty fluid. My biggest fear is that none of them will stay central. If we kind of watched the first 20 minutes of Man City versus PSG, you kind of saw that they had a vacancy right in the middle of the width of the penalty box. So they didn't have anybody really to strike. And my biggest fear is that playing somebody who's not a striker, he will veer off to the left, he'll veer off to the right, and we won't have anybody in the center. So as long as somebody is in that space, I don't care if it's Saka, I don't care if it's Emil Smith Rowe, one of them just has to pop into that space and make the center backs have to think. But I think this is really interesting, and this is something you've been talking about for a while, is getting Pepe in that number 9 position. So, hopefully it works out. But I think it has to just work out, right?
Yeah.
How difficult could it really be?
Yeah.
Just have somebody run into the box, kick the ball in the back of the net. I mean, let's make it easy, right?
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's bring Tim in and see if it works. Tim's on Twitter at Stoberto. Hello, Tim.
Hello there. Apologies for that.
Are you on the iPad now?
No.
Phone.
That's decided to crap out on me as well, so I'm on my phone. Yeah,
I love it. I love the black bars on the side. I love it. It feels like because if you were coming to us live from the stadium, this is how we'd be experiencing you. Let me ask you this, Tim. I mean, I know this is sort of an emotional question, but all things being equal, normally you'd be in Villarreal right now in a really quaint little Spanish town for a big European night. We have had a big European night in Villarreal in the past. Is this evocative for you? Is this tug at the heartstrings a little bit? A match that will live forever in the memory? A Riquelme missed penalty, a trip to the Champions League final. Bit of a different final on offer in this tie, but do you feel the symmetry of it and the longing for that experience?
I haven't thought about it that much, actually. I mean, I wrote this week about going to that semi-final in 2006, which was, one of the greatest nights of my life, I think. But it's just been in the pandemic context. I can't really envisage going anywhere at the moment, really much at all. I mean, I'm going up to the Northwest to cover the women's game on Sunday, and even that feels quite exotic. So I've not really thought about it. And to be honest, like, given that I now have a 9-month-old, I'm not that certain I would have been in Villarreal tonight. But I mean, I guess I don't long for it as long as no one else is there. You don't get that FOMO. Perhaps it'd be different if there were like 2,000 Arsenal fans there and I was sat at home. That would probably make me feel different. Whereas nobody being there at all doesn't give me that same sense. But it does evoke great memories of that night in Villarreal, absolutely, definitely, and even in Valencia 2 years ago, the semi-final second leg. I mean, the memory is not quite as great there because we didn't win the final, and frankly, Spurs kind of ruined that trip by winning in Amsterdam. But yeah, it's I don't quite feel that yet. No.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, I do want to ask you. Are you going to help me get Yolo Teta to be a thing?
I think you might be on your own there. Like I think we linked up fine on Bummery, and I think that's probably as far as it's going to go.
You're not going to go Yolo Teta? Look at this lineup, Tim. Tim, is this at least give me this. This is Yolo Teta lineup. Saka's it. So one of the things pre-lineup that I was thinking was he's got to pick between Pepe and Saka. It's a hard choice, and you hate to have to bench either of them, but that's probably a choice he has to make. He said Yolo, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka, Pepe. They're all playing. Ceballos, I get it. But I mean, is this kind of a Yolo lineup? I mean, are you surprised that a guy that we were ready to say should go before Christmas because of his sort of dour football and resistance to really leaning into his attacking talent is now a guy that in the first leg of an away leg of a semifinal, we're sitting here going, has he gone to attacking with this? It's a quite remarkable transformation, isn't it?
I kind of think it is, but I share Jess's reservations about filling that central space because the problem is when you've got loads of floating play, like it takes time, I think, to nail a system like that. I'm not sure you can really just do it in one game. And you could look at it that way, Elliot, as, oh my God, we've just put all of our attackers there. But me, I look at it and think we've found the strangest way of not picking Martinelli going. And like I kind of get it. Like there's no perfect solution when you haven't got Aubameyang or Lacazette. There just isn't a perfect solution. I really don't think Nketiah is it. I think he kind of failed his audition really, despite scoring against Fulham. So I'd rather this than that. But at the same time, I think that personally, I would have just gone with Martinelli up front.
Yeah, well, I get it. Yeah, and I mean, then you don't have to play Ceballos. That really would be YOLO, to be fair. By the way, I do just want to say thanks to everyone who's here. Clive is going to be joining momentarily. We'll continue to talk lineup. We'll continue to talk tactics and things of that nature. Jess, is there, as far as the way we're set up front, I mean, obviously one of the things that is interesting is Odegaard coming back into the system. We haven't really seen him in it much, and he hasn't played a lot lately. He's a player that we know Arteta loves and was so influential for us, sort of floating between the lines in the 4-2-3-1. This looks, at least on the surface, to be a little bit more structured, a little bit, he's probably going to stay a little more on the right side, which is an area that he likes to drift into anyway. What do you expect? I mean, we saw Odegaard very briefly against Everton, but how do you think this evolves now if we believe that Odegaard will play as one of the eights, Ceballos will play as one of the eights, and Smith Rowe gets shifted out onto the wing? I mean, what kind of changes to the dynamic do you think that could bring to the way we set up?
I just think that it's just going to give us an additional person that's going to be in there to pass the ball in between the lines and help us attack, to a certain extent. I mean, we do have Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, but I think they need that additional person, to be in there with them. I don't really know what Ceballos' role is in here. As much as I like Ceballos, something about him being on that left-hand side, I prefer Emil Smith Rowe playing more like the 10, but I also would prefer him over Ceballos to be wide. So I want two Smith Rowes. I don't want a Ceballos, so I'm looking at it like, is the left-hand side going to be kind of weaker? Because I would hope that Emil Smith Rowe is coming more central, or maybe even Pepe will be going out towards the left and leaving that space in through the middle a little bit vacant for late runs from Ceballos and Odegaard. So I think we have to look at those first 10 minutes and see what the intention of the team is, because it's really, really hard to kind of decipher what our game plan is based on something that we've never seen before. But if we had 2 Smith Rowes, I would prefer that obviously over Ceballos, because I just don't know what his role is in this team. Like, he's not really a 10. He can't play out wide. So what is he going to be doing? And he's definitely not going to be helping Party in the midfield. So he's kind of like that odd man out. But let's see in the first 10 minutes what the intention of the team is. But again, my biggest fear is that nobody's going to be central. And that would be a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, don't we have a lot of players that can combine in those spaces at least to give us access to them? I mean, there's a lot of technical quality there between Ceballos, Smith Rowe, Saka, Odegaard. I mean, a lot of players that can play quick 1-2s that are really technically secure in that space. I mean, don't you think we have the players to do it if they're occupying the right positions? It certainly puts a lot of pressure on Pepe to stitch it all together from back to front.
That's my question, is we talk about this a lot where there's no balance. If you put Martinelli in there, you have an all-in-out goal scorer. We don't really, I mean, we say Pepe is a goal scorer, but he is, but he's not at the same time. So I'm looking at that front four and I'm like, who's actually going to be the person standing there to tap the ball in? So somebody has to take responsibility. And regardless if it's Saka, Pepe, somebody has to be central, ready to tap the ball in. That's my only thing. There's no out and out strikers in that front four.
Well, before we look at how Villarreal are set up, because I do want to look at that as well. Tim, what's your reaction to that in terms of where the goals come from? I mean, frankly, I think there are players who can provide end product. And, I certainly don't think Saka and Pepe and even Smith Rowe and Odegaard we've seen, are incapable of providing it. We don't have our 25 goal a season striker in there, we know, but behind him, I realize Lacazette's provided quite a lot of goals this season, but we've also seen him go through droughts. Is it a case of we may not have the one person who does it, but between all of them, there's enough guys you half expect to score that it adds up to a score?
Potentially, but I share Jess's reservation here. This feels like quite Arteta in terms of I can see how we might build play, but you can build play all you like, but you need someone in the last 10 yards to actually put the ball in, unless your plan is to score from 25, 30 yards, which I don't think it is. This might be the Lacazette conundrum that you and I talk about quite a lot, Elliot. The kind of the building play, the coming short, the kind of the knocking the ball around, which is all nice, but doesn't mean a lot when he doesn't get into the box afterwards. And that is absolutely my reservation. And I just think, I have to say, I don't really like false nine systems. I find not none, but I find very few examples of it working. I always associate it with it kind of not working, or teams doing it because they don't have any strikers fit, which in fairness is probably the case for us. I can't really think, Man City are very unique to me in that I watch them play without a striker and I think, wow, that looks really, really good. I don't often see that with false nine teams. I think it's a bit of accommodation. And particularly on the first time that you do it. And I saw a comment there, forgive me, I can't remember the name of the person who said it could be a game changer if Pepe performs at number 9, which it could be.
A career changer, yeah. Mm-hmm.
A career changer, it could be. But at the same time, when you play up front for the first time, I just don't expect anyone to take to it in their first ever game there. Remember when Van Persie moved to that kind of lone striker role? He didn't score for 4 games, and then after that he got it, and he never stopped scoring. But I just think it takes a lot of adjustment, and I think a semi-final. This feels a bit like that Man City away game where we tried Willian false nine. To me, I have to say, I hope I'm wrong.
Can I ask you, is the solution to let Party take more shots from distance, Tim? I know you're a big fan of that.
Absolutely. I want him shooting from all angles tonight.
One thing that I think, though, look, we've seen this with Man City. They kind of go strikerless. They spread around the responsibility there. And the one thing I do like about this system is there's a lot of opportunity for freedom of movement and switching around roles and players that can be comfortable coming from different angles. And I think it gives Villarreal more of a challenge tracking them. One thing I think we can be guilty of when we have an Aubameyang is playing to try to find Aubameyang with balls in the box. When we have Lacazette, it can be the opposite problem. This one central pivot around which the whole attack, everyone looking for him dropping deep. He's the first entry pass. Then it all spins off from there. Between Odegaard and Smith Rowe and Saka, there's a lot of variation that can come from this, and that gives Villarreal a challenge. Let's add Villarreal into the conversation, though, because they are actually part of the game tonight. They are playing, it turns out. Jess, you never know. I'm taking this from Google, who takes this from UEFA, just to give you an idea of how little of an idea they know. This is what they think we're doing.
Nice.
This is what you do when Yolo Teta comes around and you don't know how to put it into the algorithm. This is Yolo Teta breaking Google's algorithm. That's what this is. But setting Yolo Teta aside for a second, and yes, Yolo Teta is a thing. By the way, thanks everyone who's here. If you want to tap, gently tap, nicely stroke, pleasuring your device, showing your device love and consideration, the like and subscribe button, that would be wonderful. Tim, I did tag you into a tweet saying that you're on the stream, so if you want to retweet that gently with a nice loving tap of your phone, I don't know if you're able to while you're in the stream, but that would be...
not.
Well, what the hell, man? Give someone your password. Let someone else retweet it. But yeah, anyway, that's all there. Clive is going to be coming momentarily. All right, Jess. So I don't know if this is right. It has Chukwueze on their left, our right. If I had to guess, similar to Richarlison at the weekend, we will actually see him popping up on the other side. I don't know Paco Alcácer that well, but he's third in scoring in La Liga. Those are the two danger men, I would think. Chukwueze attacking Xhaka if he does pop up on the right, and Paco Alcácer, a guy who neither fast nor strong, according to Alex Kirkland, which leads me to believe he's crap, but apparently he's not, because you give him one chance in the box, he's going to convert. So you look at this, you tell me, no Francis Coquelin, so I don't know how they could possibly come out victorious, but what do you think of this setup and the threat that we face from it?
Well, from Villarreal, like their actual Twitter account, they have it as a 4-3-3 with Chukwueze on the right-hand side, which would be Xhaka's side, which is what we anticipate, what we know is probably the reality. I'm surprised that they have it as a 4-3-3 because they've been playing in a 4-4-2 for a while. So this may just be mind games, though it probably will end up being Moreno and Paco Alcácer playing off of each other up top, Chukwueze off of the right, and Trigueros on the left. So I think that's pretty much what we'll see is a 4-3-3/4-4-2 from them.
I have confused Paco and Moreno, by the way. That is exactly what I've done. Everybody pointing it out. You are correct. That's exactly what I've done, yes.
So, but what I do want to see is, overloads on their right-hand side, because Juan Foyth, if you look at him, he's basically a center back playing as a fullback, and he's not very good. He makes a lot of mistakes. And the last thing a center back wants to do is be isolated one-on-one against a good, strong dribbler, somebody fast. So maybe it's up to Smith Rowe and Ceballos to get over there and try to create overloads on that side and make Chukwueze have to come back. Parejo is actually not that quick. He's a good player, but he's not that fast. So hopefully our speed and athleticism and, our youth up top can be of some sort of use for us. But I think their strong side and their weak side is their right side, which is strange. So we'll see how we can take advantage of that. But I think it's a 4-4-2 with Chukwueze on the right going up against Xhaka.
Interesting. Tim, I want to get your thoughts on that, but I have breaking news. I have an announcement to make. Oh boy.
He's here.
I got to remove Tim for a second. I got to remove Jess. This is an emotional moment. And whenever this happens in the pod, in the show, we take time, we try to process it together, we try to get through it as a group. And it is my hope that we can get through this together with the least freak out possible. But oh my God, it's Clive! He's here!
Why do you do this?
Oh God, it's Clive!
Why do you do this?
Clive! Oh, it's Clive! Clive is here. You can find him on Twitter at CliveBAFC. Oh my God, it's Clive. Clive is here. You can find him on Twitter at Clive. Oh God, it's Clive. Clive, welcome. How are you?
I'm okay. Just been to the fridge. I have my favorite beer.
Finished.
Can you see this? Can you see that?
Doable. We're going with the 8% tonight, huh?
This will be the last thing I remember. I know that for sure.
Oh, well, it's all good. That's fine with me. Look, we are we're gonna bring everybody back in, but real quick, so glad you're here. Got to know, what do you got on the back of the shirt?
Mate, I'm 106. You don't do names to the back of the shirt.
Did you happen to catch who Paul has on the back of his shirt?
Just don't tell me the Ceballos.
It's Ceballos. He's got Ceballos on the back of his shirt.
Joking.
He does.
I did hear.
We got suns out, guns out, baby. You got the guns out?
I don't know.
Let's see. Are the guns out? Let's see.
Well, I've got a
Let's
short
see.
sleeve shirt on, so
You
that's
gotta get the
it.
guns out, baby. Gotta get those guns out.
Oh, I'm not as young as
Sun's
you.
out, guns out. Come on, they're as white as can be. I gotta get some sun on those. All right. Okay. So you got the 8%. So I love that. We're gonna bring Tim back in. We're going to bring Jess back in. Tim and Jess, you want to say hi to Clive? OMG, it's Clive. Is
Oh,
his
for
full name?
God's sake. I speak to Tim every other day.
Every other
Tim,
day?
don't-
What do you mean every
don't
other
play-
day? Every day.
Don't play these games, Tim. You know I hate them.
Thank you to Sean, by the way. So OMG, it's Clive is a thing, and it's happened, and now it is time to Clive. I want to just first of all let's get to the really important stuff. Do you think Yolo Teta can happen? Can we make that a thing? How do you feel about Yolo Teta?
I don't know what that is.
YOLO Teta, YOLO. This lineup is super YOLO. Are you down with? I mean, do you feel that he's? I mean, Clive, this is a big change, right? This is a manager now in Arteta who is definitely feeling it and saying, "I got talent at the front end of the pitch. Those are the guys I want up there." What do you think of the lineup?
Yeah, it looks interesting, doesn't it? And it's going to be fun seeing, watching those first 5 minutes to see where everyone stands and where they go and who they follow. You know, that's always the fun bit of watching a live game, to see what happens. And I sort of heard you lot briefly. And does everyone think Pepe's playing centre forward?
Yeah, that's
Everyone
what we think. I mean, do you agree?
Don't care, right? But I honestly don't care because what I can see is he's got the good players on the pitch, and that's really important. People that are used to these type of nights, you know. And I think if Pepe plays left and Saka plays right, and we have two sort of false nines, if you see what I mean, or false tens in the middle, that could easily work. I think it's important we press them from the middle. They have a centre back in Pau Torres who likes to progress the ball and he's very graceful and moves beautifully. Real Madrid are looking to tap him on the shoulder for the summer, so he's no fool, right? So I tell you, so we've got to make sure we're after him, because once you take it off him, no one's aware. Albiol can't go, so no one's aware. Foyth is a donut. He's played for Spurs. He can't run. He's like caught on a roundabout, looking around him. What's happening? So,
Do you think it's going to be Smith Rowe testing him though, or do you think we might try moving some people around to have a go at him? Pepe will take some pop up there. That Saka will pop up there.
Most important thing with Foyth is he's one of those defenders, a little bit like Holding. If it's a front foot game, you can get really aggressive and angry. He's quite good. If you start to have primary and secondary movements around him, and you just start to move him and get him a little bit uncertain, he's useless. Seriously, he's useless. And whereas Holding is really good in his air in the box and offers a lot because he's 6'3", wherever it is. Foyth is a 6-footer. He's not quite a centre back. He's not quite a right back. So stick him at right back and say try and do a holding job there. But he doesn't track people very well. He's quite brave, lots of last ditch tackles, but not for me. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do. But the interesting thing is, I honestly don't care because that front section of players, I like them. You know, I really like them, and they're good footballers, and they speak the same language. And then just get them on there and see what we do. And we've got the right balance there, sort of. Do you see what I mean? With sprinters, Tim, and with people who come and get it as well. They can all come and get it, and most of them, apart from Odegaard, can go in behind. So I'm all right. I'm generally all right. And I suppose the thing for me is the flexibility of Arteta. If he sees something and it's not quite happening, my biggest worry with him is not if he can coach, attack, defense, whatever, is his ability to change something in game. And that wasn't the worry I had in drinks break Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? So that's the only worry I have. But yeah, it's going to be fun, isn't it?
Clive, do you like how Arteta's lineup broke the Google algorithm for laying out where the players are positioned on the pitch? They had absolutely no idea what to make of it. So they came up with this nonsense.
So I don't know how many podcasts you've done with me and Tim, and I'm not sure how many that we've really, really spent a lot of time discussing lineups.
Yeah, not much. Yeah. Fair enough. Touche. Let's do this. Let's get into a little bit of where the danger for us is. I think, Tim, that our back line doesn't inspire a ton of confidence, given that Luiz, who might arguably be our most reliable center back this season, is in the team but not starting. Gabriel, who was the guy we thought was the star, has sort of faded from that position, now lost that position to Murray and Holding. Chambers, let's be honest, he's been really good since he's come back, but he's a player that we know his limitations, same with Holding. And then you've got a central midfielder who can't run at left back. We can't let them get isolated one-on-one. These guys, Moreno and Chukwueze, we can't let them get isolated one-on-one in space if possible. But really the only person protecting that line is Thomas Partey. So how do you see the patterns of play developing in terms of us in our defensive shape versus when we get up the pitch and making sure that we don't have guys like Chambers and Shaq on the outside isolated against players like Moreno and Chukwueze?
Yeah, one thing, I can't remember if I read it or I heard it earlier today. Oh, no, I was listening to Scott on the Patreon pod earlier. That's
Robert Wright loving my take that Luiz is our most reliable center back, by the way. Pick one, man. They've all had their go in the washing machine, as Clive would say. Sorry, go ahead, buddy. Yeah.
And yeah, no, I was listening to Scott say that one of the things that Villarreal don't do is get their fullbacks forward. And I've seen Van Foyth plenty of times, both for Spurs and Argentina, and share Clive's assessment of him. So what they don't really have is an overlap. Which I think is a positive for both of our fullbacks, because it, potentially, obviously Villarreal have got two quite tricky wingers who are quite good one-on-one, and you definitely don't want, particularly behind Xhaka, you don't want loads and loads of space, and that's definitely a worry. And also because the other thing I wonder about that is Ceballos is generally the one who drifts off to the left and Partey to the right. But that means that Partey is not the one protecting Xhaka, it's Ceballos. So, I mean, if I were Unai Emery, my life would be horrible. But if I were Unai Emery, that and bear in mind he knows.
Should I take that to mean you don't like money, Tim? Because I'm telling you something. If you were Unai Emery, your life probably wouldn't be that bad, man.
True. Touche.
You're living in a nice town in Spain with all the money in the world.
You're spending all your money, Tim. Remember that. Right?
But I mean, to be fair, you don't need to watch a lot of Arsenal to know that Granit Xhaka can't run very fast. But Unai Emery worked with that player a lot and will know his limitations, and so I imagine that is the area that Villarreal will target the most. As for Chambers, I don't worry as much about him. I mean, I don't really want him to get isolated, but then, to be honest, I don't really want any of our fullbacks getting isolated. If Tierney was playing, I wouldn't want him getting isolated either. So I think that's a concern regardless of who we're playing. I mean, this to me looks like a lineup where we want to keep the ball effectively, and that's the thing that we'll really borrow from City. That just kind of, if we control the game and we control the ball, then we won't have to worry about that, even if we're not creating loads of chances ourselves.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, Jess, let me ask you this. I think, we know that we're missing a lot of players and this lineup is sort of pieced together. At least it's a system that we've had a chance to work on for a little bit. One of the things that's really interesting, though, and I don't want to make this a joke, we want our manager to learn. He's a new manager. He's young. And I think we were frustrated by some of the things he was doing a while ago, but he's made the team more attacking. He's found ways to get more of the front end talent, into the lineup, get the ball up the pitch more, get Partey to have a more of a leadership role in the center of the pitch because, despite whatever Clive says, I think he's a very talented player who can really influence the game. But Willian, this is a great example of how a manager develops. And all kidding aside, there's no Willian. We could have all envisioned even just a month ago that Pepe's on the bench and Willian's doing this or something. He's evaluated the performances and he's starting to be ruthless. Nketiah, a guy he loved, not starting tonight, not playing tonight. Willian, not playing tonight. Do you think that there's a lot of credit owed to Arteta, whether you love him or hate him, ready for him to go, ready for him to stay, in the fact that at least to some extent, there seems to be real progress in terms of his talent evaluation, his willingness to react to what he's seeing on the pitch and change it with the lineups and the benches?
Yeah, I think so. He has improved on things that I think a lot of fans have been frustrated with over the season. And you hit the nail on the head with Willian and Nketiah, kind of limiting these players playing time, noticing when changes need to be made. And he's found a system that works without Tierney, which I think he needs a little bit of credit for, because it's when Tierney got injured, we were all thinking that we had no chance. And now we have this makeshift system that makes sense for us. So I think he is owed a lot of credit, but at the same time, in this game, what I'm looking for is if we have a slow start or it's looking like things are not working, Martinelli or Aubameyang needs to come on as quickly as possible because they're both game changers. And if we need a goal, they need to come on. And so although I give him credit for noticing that Willian was a dud. I mean, we could have all seen that at the very beginning of the season. But what I want to see from him is in-game management and not letting the game just kind of fall by the wayside because we want to see if this will work. So that's what I'm looking for. If it's dead, change it quickly because you have game changers on the bench.
Tim, I'll let you go in a second here, but I just want to give you a shot at that because I think that's the next big thing, which is, all right, so I think we like where he's headed with the lineup, what he's doing with the system, and how he's getting – I can't believe I'm going to throw a bone to Paul here, but the toothpaste up the tube. But now the next step is making impact substitutions in a timely way that don't take 20 minutes to take effect or don't wait till the end of the game. 5 subs in Europe. He hasn't really demonstrated yet that he's prepared to maximize the flexibility that gives him. And I'm not saying you should always use them. If things are going the way you want, you don't just use 5 subs because you have them. I think we saw, Pep last night in the opening act, the least important European competition, take a bad first half performance, coach him up, make some changes, and tilt a whole tie in his favor with a second half performance that I think was pretty dominant, all things considered. And going up a man doesn't hurt. But do you think Arteta's next step, and maybe one that he has to show in this tie, is that he can use these 5 subs to the greatest effect possible? We have the better team, which means we have the deeper bench, which means we should be able to influence the game more in real time. Is that the next step for Arteta?
100%, yeah. And even given that he's quite inexperienced, I think he should be doing better with this because he does have a lot of depth in attack. And tonight, he's got Aubameyang on the bench, and we've got to think that he's going to play some part tonight, whether it's the last 30, 20 minutes or 8 minutes, given that it's Arteta. But that depth has been there for a while. To your other question about how much credit he deserves, for not picking Willian, none. Taking far too long.
You're not feeling generous tonight. Maybe you need a Duvel. Hey, Clive, can you reach through the screen and give a Duvel to Tim, please?
But do you know what?
When Tim's in this mood, just let him go, mate. Let him go.
But do you know what that also proves? That all that stuff, because he played like a 5-yard pass to Tierney against Benfica, and Willian, wonderful, wonderful stuff. He didn't believe it. He didn't.
Shots fired at Paul. Shots fired right at Paul. Right there. Keep going. Sorry.
He didn't believe it any more than the rest of us. And look, I understand that he's the manager, right? He's not the one talking shit on podcasts. That's our job. He has to try and big the player up a little bit. But I mean, it just shows that when you start really, really reaching to praise things like that, it shows that things are going badly. So I think he's taken far too long with that one. But the substitutions thing, yes, definitely. He's got Martinelli on the bench. He's got Aubameyang on the bench. This is a completely brand new thing he's trying with these forwards tonight. And I think we're gonna have to understand that it's probably not gonna we're probably not gonna storm out the trap in the first 5 minutes. Hopefully, I've jinxed that. So he's gonna have to use the bench tonight and not in the 78th minute like he did in the quarterfinal first leg.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably right. You can't let moments drift. It's a semifinal. Go get those away goals. There's no second chance to get away goals. There's a second chance to get goals, just not away goals. Real quick, actually, well, Tim, I'll let you go because you've been on for a bit and you're doing it by your phone, which means you can't do any of the fun stuff while other people are talking. But I'm going to ask you to retweet the fact that we still have this going on. We'll carry it on for about another 15 minutes or so and then get out of here. So, Tim, I do appreciate you. We'll probably chat with you in about 2.5 hours' time, and hopefully we will all be drunk and happy and through to the final with nothing to worry about in the second leg. Tim's on Twitter at Roberto. Thanks, bud.
My pleasure as always. UTA.
Cheers. UTA. All right. So, Clive, it's possible Oba may only be able to play 10, 15 minutes tonight. I think the Aubameyang thing is really interesting. We don't know what we could get from him, but my goodness, having your Golden Boot winner sitting on the bench, just sitting there staring at the coach saying, I'm ready if you need me, it's a big temptation to reach for that option. And I think whatever you think of Aubameyang, he has the ability to turn a tie. Do you think he keeps him fully in reserve tonight? That he's a distraction for Emery? That he's, something that's just there to stick in Emery's mind, but not really available? Do you think we'll get to see a little bit of him?
Yeah, I think. Can I go a little bit on how I think the game's going to go? Is that okay?
I'd rather. You know what? Only if you can tell me if Yolo teta is going to happen. No, I'm kidding. Go for it. How's the game going to go? You do that. You do the real stuff, and I'll sit here being an idiot.
I've just been thinking. I really enjoyed the City game last night, and I look at City. You're looking at Arsenal really, and there were periods in that game. I'm thinking, come on, mate, make a change. You get some fast forwards on. You got to do it. And he didn't do it. He kept playing, Only adjustment he made is he went longer in the second half at the start, got into their half. PSG said, all right, we'll bring you on because we're the best counter-attacking team going. Man City didn't give the ball away. They got their goals, and then PSG's confidence went. And what City do much better than us is they ride out bad moments. So we don't have many bad moments against us. We might kick it around net or throw it in. Do you see what I mean? So teams get maximum reward for very few moments. We control most games we play. So straight away, when we see a team, our minds go massively towards what we could do on the ball. But actually, my mind is particularly on pressing tonight. That front four is probably one of our most pressy front four. You know, Odegaard's a good presser, Saka can press. These are pressing players, and I think we can beat them on intensity and movement. I don't think Villarreal are quite good at tracking movement. Once they lose the ball, they like to build up. They like to build through their centre-backs. So I'm thinking, mate, press them early. They're at home. They carry the tension that we'll carry next week. So let's get after them really quickly, press them off the ball, score, then bring more scorers on. Do you see what I mean? Can you imagine that? If we are ahead, and then we're bringing on Martelli, we are bringing on Aubameyang. So we're keeping that offensive threat and that intensity of movement. So I think that's what he's going to do. That's why I don't mind where they play. It's more how they play. You know, I think it's really important that we play with intensity, particularly off the ball. I think it's an off-the-ball game tonight. If we do that right, I think we'll score. And then I think we can develop on that scoring threat later on. And that's how I think it's going to go, mate. Stay with it. False night's exciting. But really, for me, it's the intensity off the ball to really shake this team.
Yeah, and I think we have that. I mean, I don't see a midfield in particular that scares me from them. I mean, we know that Chukwueze and Moreno could be dangerous. The rest of that team seems pretty average. I know I'm playing with fire here. A goalkeeper that apparently has a rick in him. We might get a word from you on goalkeeper, Clive, in fact, in a moment. But Jess, I'll go back to you. But first of all, FK wants to make sure to point out that this is a gargantuan game and is a gargantuan Arsenal Vision lineup. Thank you, my friend, and looking forward to your show that is coming out in the near future. We do appreciate that.
We should get him on one day. You know, he's really.
Yeah, I don't like to class the place up too much if possible. Clive is really calming my nerves right now. Let me settle that for you. It's a semifinal. If we lose this, it's a met with no Europe next season if we don't win. Is that better? Get you going? No? Okay. Clive, what kind of beer are you drinking? You want to give everybody free advertising again? I hate to do free advertising.
Well, this is my favorite beer. This is it's called 8%. I don't drink like 20 because you can't, right? Otherwise,
8%. That's all you need to know about Clive and his beer choice. Real quick before I get to you, Jess, we got to bring you back in. But air horns. We have a Patreon sign up, and I want to say thank you for that. We will have an instant reaction right after the game for patrons. We also have a Discord where you can chat directly with us, and we all chat, and it's a lot of fun. So I do hope that people will sign up if they want. And if they don't want, that's totally fine too. We're just thrilled that you're here. And since you're here, if you don't mind, gently caress your device because it's expensive. It's nice. It's got a touch screen that you barely have to touch. You just gently tap like and subscribe. That's all you have to do. You don't have to smash it. Why do people want you to smash your? I don't know. But I go on. Look, let's set that aside for a second, Jess. I hate to do this. I'm going to tempt fate, and I'm going to ask you to agree with me on something that is probably not right. That central midfield for Villarreal, to me, seems we can get at them. We can get around them. I don't see, I mean, I know Capu is a physical guy. You know, you worry about some rough challenges, but I don't think technically he's particularly great. I think that Party can have a lot of joy in the middle of the park against them. They're not particularly mobile and rangy. I think this could have been a game for Coughlin, actually, to put him on Party and try to short circuit our ball progression. He hasn't gone for that. Is midfield an area where we can outnumber them with some of these, technical guys dropping in? Ceballos, Odegaard, Smith Rowe can come in centrally a little bit. Party's in there and really cause them problems in midfield, connecting to the attack. I think that is an area where I look at their team and I don't see how they match up with us particularly well. Again, tempting fate, but I'm asking you to go with me on it.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Parejo, good player, but not necessarily super mobile or anything. I wouldn't call him average, but he's not somebody that I would worry about. Capu is a hack, so if we could get him on a yellow card early, that would be great. And if we could get Odegaard or Smith Rowe or somebody in there to create, numbers in midfield and drop in and create angles so that we can bypass their midfield easily, I think we can, because I still believe that they're going to be playing with 2 in the midfield. I really think it's a 4-4-2. That's all I've really seen them play lately. So I think we should have the numbers in there. We should be more athletic than them. We should be busier than them. And I would be very disappointed if we lost the midfield battle, seeing who they have in there. This is a big game for Thomas. He's going to have a lot of responsibility on him, and this is why we bought him. So you guys know that I'm a huge Thomas Partey fan. I'm always going to back him, but this is why we paid for him, is for him to dominate. And if he can't beat Parejo and Capu, then I'm going to be a little bit worried, but I think that he's going to have a big game. He has a big part to play, and I would imagine him and Odegaard being able to create good movement in the midfield and bypass their midfield quite easily, because they're just not that mobile, So, Thomas has that really good line breaking pass that he does. And now that we have Odegaard back, we know we have somebody to receive those. So I'm hoping that that's what happens. We'll see.
Jess, I'm going to solo me and Clive here for a second for reasons that will become obvious to you momentarily, because one of the things that people really like is Clive's reaction to the sponsor.
I thought
Clive loves the sponsor. No, Clive loves the sponsor. I'm even going to put a little bug up here. Ready for this one? Clive, got Bush? Do you like where this is headed?
Yeah, that's great. Very tasteful.
Sound of your dreams coming true. I mean, Clive, top of the head? No?
Yeah,
what do you... Yeah.
I've recently cut mine, just like about an hour ago.
Okay, so just super quick. Look, this is the Lawnmower 3.0. It's waterproof. You can use it in the shower. You can use it on your chest, your sideburns, your privates, which is what's designed for it. It has skin-safe technology. Those are ceramic blades. Ceramic? Yeah, ceramic. Ceramic blades. And they'll still give you 20% off when you use the promo code ArsenalVision and free shipping. And now they have the UK, Australia, EU, US, Canada, India. We're working on it. I'm sorry, but we'll get you there. Point is, Lawnmower 3.0, please do it, because it helps support this great program that we put together, and it helps support a great company that also is currently partnering with the Testicular Cancer Society to raise awareness for testicular cancer. So a great cause, a great sponsor, a great product. You can go check it out at manscaped.com, promo code ArsenalVision. Clive, is that enough of that?
Yeah, and it is the good thing about testicular cancer. Yeah, I can deal with that.
Wait, what?
That's a noble thing.
I thought you said the good thing about testicular cancer, and I was like, we're into some dangerous territory here. Some cancel. You mean that is a noble cause that you can get behind, is what he's trying to say. Exactly. Jess, do you appreciate that I took you off the screen for that? I think that was the respectful and responsible thing to do.
I love the little thing in the corner that says "Got Bush." I think it's hilarious. Yeah. I tweeted earlier that I actually only listen to Arsenal Vision podcast for the cringy ads for Manscaped. It's so funny, but yeah, I don't really mind it that much. I think it's hilarious. So
perfect. Well, you made my day there. Clive is a closet Manscaped fan. We know Clive loves Manscaped. Yeah. So okay. Anywho, let's wrap up here, because I think we've been going for quite a while, and I want to thank everyone for joining. Look, this is so much better than me just listening to some Yahoo who doesn't know our club on TV say some nonsense while I'm freaking out and drinking, 3% while Clive's on the 8%. So let's get some predictions and then some final thoughts. Jess, what do you see happening tonight?
I mean, I think we're going to win the game. I'm looking at that front four and I'm thinking we're going to cause them huge issues. Stop putting up these comments.
Sorry. But, go ahead. Yeah. Prediction time. Let's do it.
I think we should win it. I think we'll start out slow, kind of trying to figure out what's, what we're doing, but I see goals in this game, and I think we're going to win 2-1. I don't think we'll escape without giving up something, but I think we'll win 2-1, and I'm going to go with Pepe for a goal and Bukayo Saka for a goal. So
I would absolutely take it. Clive, would you take a 2-1 win away at Villarreal in semifinal?
Yeah, that'd be nice. It would be. I'd like to make next Thursday less traumatic. Like that, I'm not sure I can deal with that.
What would the score have to be in your mind for next Thursday to feel less dramatic? 4-0?
10-0 to the Arsenal.
10-0
yeah,
Arsenal.
Probably 3 away goals is what I need for next week to feel less traumatic. But yeah, I think Villarreal walk into this game with 2006 in their mind, didn't they? So they've got a lot of not revenge, but they're going to remember. They're going to remember us. So, but also we've got a number of players that are quite used to playing in Spain. I think that's a useful thing. I don't think they're afraid of the environment. Odegaard, Ceballos, Partey. They're not afraid of the environment. Marie knows the environment. I think he grew up around that way. So I feel pretty good. I feel as though if I know this team, They've lacked a bit of focus in the league, but that Slavia game, they were at it, weren't they? They were at it. And I think that was the message to all of us, what really counts this season. So I'm hoping they do the business. I'm hoping that Pepe plays really well because a lot of people are starting to like him. And I think this would seal the deal if he really delivers on a day when Aubameyang doesn't play. And if you look back into his football history of Arsenal, he does really well when Aubameyang doesn't play. So I hope that continues. So a couple of big away goals and a good performance just changes his perception to Arsenal fans completely. So that's my thing. So 2-3-1, I'd like that. 2-0 would be great. 2-0 would be lovely. You know, really nice.
Yeah, I will say this. I think we'll play well. One of the things that we have going for us, I really believe, is the fact that we don't have anything else to really focus on. And we haven't earned Champions League through the league, obviously. So the players know if they want to play in Europe next season, they got to go out and prove it on this pitch. And the one thing, we know is that this is a chance for some of these players who did play in the final in Baku to get themselves to Europa League final and potentially face English opposition again and potentially redress the wrongs of that night in Baku against Chelsea. So we'll see, and maybe even with some fans in the stands for that final, which would be interesting. All right, let's just about start to sign off. Jess is on Twitter. It's Jessinho. She has a podcast called She Knows Arsenal, which I think she demonstrated flawlessly tonight as ever. So Jess, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys later.
Up the Arsenal.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Clive's on Twitter, Clive PFC. Clive, I imagine I'll be speaking to a drunk and hopefully happy Clive in about 2 hours on the Patreon instant reaction. Yeah.
I won't be drunk, just chilling. Just hopefully we get the results.
We'll see.
So,
I'll be the judge of that.
Enjoy the game, everybody. See you later.
Cheers, Clive. Thanks so much, man. All right. Well, my name is Elliot Smith. You can block me on Twitter at Yankee Gunner. Most important thing is we love you. Thank you for being here. And I know a tricky year and a tough time to be an Arsenal fan. So much going on. We didn't get to the Spotify takeover thing and all that. Another time for that. Today's about the football and a big night, a European semifinal. I hope it goes well for you and wherever you are. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're happy. I hope you're enjoying your life, and can't say how much it means to us that you share a little bit of this time with us. So with that having been said, I think we will sign off until next time. If you do want to sign up for Patreon, you certainly can, because we will have an instant reaction pod after the game. If you don't want to do that, no big deal, because we'll have a regular pod tomorrow. Either way, we're just thrilled to celebrate with you, and we'll have some news of a big live event coming up in the not too distant future. So good luck to everybody. Up the Arsenal. Big night. Hope you enjoy it. We love you, and we will talk to you after Arsenal 10, Villarreal 0.